Welcome to a new episode of Opening Bid. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi. Like I always say, this is the podcast that will make you a smarter investor and hopefully just a better all-around person. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Special guest here. I'm really excited to bring you this podcast. We're here with Drew and Jonathan Scott, better known as the Property Brothers. Good to see you guys.
Speaking of all-around great dudes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I thought you said that was your lead into
well done,
it.
sir.
We were here to make people feel sexier about investment in housing and real estate, right?
There is actually something interesting, because especially when it comes to home, when you really do feel like you're in charge of your finances and your home and your investment, biggest investment most people make, it does actually make you feel better in life. It gives you a sense of calm, it gives you a sense of confidence. So
You feel grounded.
yeah, it's something that's important for us in our shows, is to make sure we're helping teach people how they can take control of that.
So let's start here with the pressing question. Do I buy that new toilet for my home?
Well,
Is it the gold toilet with the massage function?
Yeah. Does it massage you? Does it?
I don't even know if I want my toilet massaging.
Hold on, this is one of the ultimate questions of all time, because you have two types of people in the world.
Okay.
People who love the toilets that have electric bidet function,
Yeah.
and then the people who don't.
Do you like an electric bidet on your
I've
toilet?
never tried one.
You need to try it.
Do I need to try
Best thing
it?
in the world. I don't know where my camera is right now, but I want to look you right down the lens in a close-up and be like, "Listen, you need an electric bidet on your toilet. It's heavenly.
It's like one of those secret upgrades that nobody's doing but should do.
This is what I tell my wife, and I'm sorry, Linda, for saying this, but when I'm away traveling, I really miss home. 1, for my steam shower, 2, for my electric bidet, and 3, for my family. No?
Oh,
not
they
in that
come in
order.
third?
Not in that order. Come on.
That is.
As someone that owns a one-bedroom co-op for the past 10 years, what the hell's a steam shower? Like, what's this like? Is it just
steam shower? Oh, it's heavenly.
So steam shower, basically, it's your regular shower, but you can put a steam device into it so that you can essentially it's a sauna. Like you're going, or sorry, it's like a steam room. So the good thing is, if you're getting sick or anything, you put that in, so you can. There are even some of them where you can, put herbs and stuff into, that steam out.
This is the main thing.
Drew gets very
I get a little
emotional
when I talk steam showers. So it basically, you have to have a fully enclosed shower space, and also there's a different type of waterproofing that you have to do. But anytime you're cold, getting in or out of the shower, especially in winter months, that's a thing of the past. The steam shower, have it set before you step in. It's nice and warm.
Do you put the herbs in it? Are you the herb guy?
I'm not an herby guy.
Yeah. Well, the herbs are a thing that you have in the shower, a separate room, so that it's like you're at the spa.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so talk to me, guys.
No, we're done. Interview's over.
I wanted to get that out of the way, because a lot more questions, personal questions.
If you want to
of course.
have a long relationship, like beyond a year and a half,
Okay.
put a steam shower in and an
Steam
electric
shower.
bidet.
All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
we'll follow up. So
Your girlfriend will become a wife. Sorry.
Okay. Tell me about the new show, guys. Don't hate your house with the Property Brothers. Like, I mean, how can you hate your house if you have a steam shower, herbs in it, and a new toilet?
You would not believe how many people we would talk to that they're just at the end of their rope. They are so done with their home. It's not functioning for them. It makes life harder, and especially these days where a lot of people are working from home as well. The more time you spend around your family in a home that doesn't work for you, the harder life is.
Yeah.
So we decided to launch the new show because that's who we wanted to target, the people who are just throwing their hands up. And the stories are incredible. I mean, Carolyn is one woman who's a hardworking woman. She's really incredible.
2 kids.
2 kids, but her one kid lived in her room. She didn't have a door in the bathroom or her bedroom. No privacy whatsoever for years, and she's fed up. And these are the things that people don't think.
But they just live with it.
Yeah,
and
they just get used to it.
That's the hard thing, is people end up just living with these things they hate, and then they just hate their house, and they think there's no solution. And then people think they just need to sell and move until they realize all the costs associated with moving. You're losing equity when you have that value there. So we come in to help them transform their home. In fact, the final 2 episodes of the season are our parents' house. We brought our parents down from Canada. They lived in their dream home in Banff, in the Rocky Mountains, but they wanted to be around the grandkids. And so we had to make sure they didn't hate their home. Otherwise, they would have regretted moving down here.
So without giving too much away, what'd you do to their home?
So we found them this beautiful century-old Spanish-style home in Santa Monica. And it was a massive renovation. I mean, it was a massive list that my mom gave us of things that she wanted. But we just had to make sure that it was enough to bring them. They met 55 years ago in Banff. They loved Banff. We had renovated a house there for them. But now they needed to be here. And at 80 and 90 years old, it's nice to have them close.
Sure.
And so yeah, everything about aging in place was important for us. Make sure it was safe for them. and also to have play areas so that when the grandkids come over, they can run around.
There's a lot that people can learn too, no matter what stage you are. Like Jonathan said, for our parents, they're 80 and 90 years old. They're trying to find a place where they can age in place. They don't want to. They want this to be their last home. So thinking of how we can maximize the space for them to enjoy. They haven't hosted people for a very long time. They used to be the center of every party. So they're going to host us for the holidays as well. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Is that one of the biggest trends you see over the next decade? I think we are around the same age. So
I'm 73 years old.
You're 73. I'm like 76.
Okay.
What is that the next trend over the decade? Like our parents aging, and we're going to have to upgrade their homes, or they're going to be leaving their homes. What do we do with their homes?
Yeah, I think you're right too. There are a lot of that's actually a lot of investors are focusing on not just retirement communities or adult living spaces. Are looking at how they can actually put more opportunity into people's homes to age in place, because I think it'll also help the system that's being overloaded.
Well, it's so interesting right now, and forecasting ahead, there will be more boomers entering, the era where they're going to need to stay in a facility that, accommodates seniors, and, they've maybe had a home their entire life, and then now they're moving out of that. So there's going to be inventory that comes from that, or homes that need to be adapted to reflect their needs now. But it used to be like with our parents' generation, you moved into a home and you lived in that your entire life. Whereas now they say the average family moves every 3 to 5 years. Who the hell loves moving that much? I think we're going to see a swing going back, because it is better long term to not continually change homes. Every time you do that, lawyers' fees, transfer taxes,
realtor fees.
Yeah, it's just, you lose so much of your equity that way.
Way back when, I think if I'm building a senior home, my parents live in that home, you put a railing in the bathroom, and that's senior proof. But like, are you seeing some new things that one could do? I mean, this is a generation that's grown up with technology. Like, how do we keep them safe in their own homes as they age?
Technology is exactly it, like you said. I mean, whether it's a ramp, getting rid of stairs, or lifts on the stairs if there are stairs, those are all things that everybody knows. And in fact, a lot of insurance companies will give you lists of things that you can do to help make a home perfect for aging in place. But the technology is so key. Automation is one thing. Safety devices, there are ranges that will shut off automatically now. Like the one we have an induction range, but it will shut itself off if it hasn't been used for a bit, even if you leave burners on. It's those sort of things that you really need, because people can get forgetful. And
we create content as well on our website, drewandjonathan.com, and it'll be simple tricks that don't involve you having to renovate. A lot of people don't realize one of the biggest hazards for seniors are loose rugs. If you have loose rugs, area rugs, runners, things like that, it's a trip hazard, and quite often that'll be the cause of a fall. So little things that you can do. Having enough light is a big thing as well.
Yeah, we have automated lights that will come on sort of in plugs along the hall. They're just low down by your feet, but when it senses motion, they'll come on, so you're never in the dark trying to find your way to the bathroom at nighttime. And on top of that, though, I mean, we want like our parents, for example, we want them to enjoy where they live. We don't want them just to feel like they're surviving. They need to thrive in this space, and they need to feel that independence in their home, and we think we've been able to give that to them.
Talk to me about this new fund. You guys have launched it. Have you taken any investments? What is it for, and what you'll be doing?
We're still in our raise right now, and it's exciting for us to be at the front end of this, of new technology coming to the market. And so to be able to invest in these companies, these entrepreneurs, and then use our brand, we want to use our faces to help scale these products up.
Faces.
They're fading fast, these faces. No, but I mean, we're a known, trusted brand with integrity. We're a household name, but we don't just invest in anything. We really do our due diligence. We have an amazing partner in our fund that has that experience with the VC world. And for us to be able to invest early and help these companies scale up, it helps bring the price down, and is a part of our plan to help bring people safe, happy, healthy homes and affordable homes.
It's a pretty exciting time in home technology right now as it is. We're seeing so much stuff come in that's actually going to change how we live, reduce hazards within the home, catastrophic losses, floods, fires, things like that. But also on the cool tech side, there's so much cool stuff coming out.
Hit me with something, because I'm into this stuff, but my tech life and home is, these smart bulbs, which I was very proud of. I got them at Home Depot. Like, I plugged them into my Alexa, like they turn on. But that's about it.
I think you said smart balls. I was
No,
like, what the heck is that?
Those were not sold at Home Depot or Lowe's. I assure you.
But this is, so if you even think about like water waste reduction is an important thing too. There are a lot of old homes or condos that have leaks. So that's another thing too that's really important, is reducing the amount of wasted water, or it's a safety hazard too. Or if you're away on vacation, there's a leak that you don't know about. So those are the kind of things that I love. There's so much tech that you can control from your phone that keeps every aspect of your home safe, whether you're home or not.
On the cool side, I just saw technology, and I know they've been working on it for a while, but it's first going to hit like the media space, and then it'll come into the residential space when it's affordable that way. But it's 3D color. It's 3D television basically without the glasses. So you're basically watching a TV and it's full 3D coming right at you, and they call it solid light. It's pretty cool. So technologies like this, imagine having a fireplace. It's an electric fireplace, so there's no hazard, there's no CO2, no issues that way, but it literally looks like a real fire in your space and you still get the heat.
You know what I'm interested to see, because I've seen a little bit of this, but it's not quite there yet for the average consumer. But because a lot of people are trying to live in a smaller space that's more multifunctioning. It can be multiple rooms, or you see like in Japan they have like a one room that the toilet comes out of the wall, and the bathroom, the kitchen, everything's in one room.
The toilet comes out of the wall?
Oh yeah, like it's a panelized system. So if you look up online, you'll see
you
it.
got a real focus on toilets over there.
I'm taking it all in, guys.
Toilet notes.
I only get like a finite amount of time with like guests, especially you
No,
guys.
but this is the thing. I don't like the idea that you have this tiny room where your kitchen sink and your toilet are right there together. However, what I'm looking forward to seeing is how they have larger rooms that do adapt. The room, if you want to entertain guests, it manipulates the walls or moves the walls so you have better space for a dining space. And then it can shrink down and give you a second bedroom or whatever you need.
You know what's wild is you do actually see a lot of incredible innovation come out of Europe or come out of Asia when it comes to tiny spaces, because they're dealing with a different type of housing over there. Well, you mix that now with the AI technologies that are coming along. Drew talked about leak detection earlier, which I think is incredible, because you can have AI-driven leak detection so that if something's happening, there's a flood at home, you're not responding, it'll automatically turn off your water. But again, talking about seniors and aging in place, you can also adapt that technology so it says, hey, somebody who's living in this home hasn't used any water all day, you might want to check on them. There could be a problem. So I love the fact that we're seeing now all this great innovation, all this great technology merging into what will be a much smarter home.
And price coming down on that too.
Hang with us, gents. We're going to go off for a quick break. We'll be right back on Opening Bid. All right, welcome back to Opening Bid. We're talking about some toilets, small spaces where toilets could pop
You're
out
talking
of.
about toilets.
Well, I'm roping you guys in.
I have a great toilet technology that you got to.
Okay.
If you've ever seen this, they have some of them in Europe, definitely in Asia. They're public toilets that every time someone uses the toilet, it reverses through the wall, and there's a secondary toilet that comes around, and when the one that's in the wall, it gets totally cleaned, sanitized, so every public toilet is totally clean.
Well, some of those too, it has like a flood of water that comes through the floor and everything. I'm like, well,
scrubs the walls, scrubs the
This
floors.
is going to get some really interesting Instagram comments. Talk to me about, like, let's zoom out a little bit, because you guys are still very actively in the market. I mean, you're out there doing the work. Like, why is there still an affordability crisis in this country?
There is a lack of housing that is so intense in this country. We're probably about 4.5 million homes short of a healthy market right now. And the challenge is, we all know that we need more housing inventory, particularly affordable housing. Every time anybody tries to do a housing project, people show up in droves and protest it and say they don't want it in their backyard. No way, this is going to be a problem. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So I think they need to really look at, I mean, one of the companies we just acquired, it's a modular builder, panelized modular builder, and our goal is so that people who want to have maybe their garage converted to an ADU or put in an ADU so that they can rent that out, provide a house, give them some revenue, great. The other solution is going to be public properties that are not being used, and there are thousands and thousands of them in every city.
Yeah, we're working with regional and state levels to try and figure out how we can be a part of offsetting that housing crisis by utilizing some of their property and our technology, this modular panelized systems, and other technology. But on top of that, like Jonathan said, a big part of the solution will be people building a second or even a third. Even in California, you can have a junior ADU and an ADU, but having multiple units that you can rent out. We're not talking about short-term like Airbnb, we're talking about long-term rentals for families.
And one thing I think people just need to realize is there's this sort of mindset that, well, why is the government paying for housing? You know, this is crazy, I don't want to waste money on something. They don't understand that it costs more to have people living on the street, the crime, the health problems affiliated with that. It actually costs us more in taxpayer dollars than it does to house people in somewhere safe. They say instantly, as soon as somebody has a safe house over their head, the likelihood of them descending into further drug problems or crime problems, it's like drops in a quarter. And the longer that they're off the street, the safer it gets. So what we've said is, right now they're paying in most places, most major cities, they're paying about $800 to $800,000 to $900,000 per one bedroom unit to build. We can get that cost down under 200.
Yeah, California's crazy. It's ridiculous how expensive it is, but hopefully we can do our part in utilizing some of the tech that we know of in our system. You know, we have real estate portfolios, like property in California, I have it in Charlotte area, up in Canada, and also there's a lot we're learning from Canada and how the government's supporting programs up there that they're not doing down here.
Oh, if they had a program for...
Well, what could they do to make it easier, I guess?
I can give you the simplest example. So when we buy a multifamily building and we're trying to make sure we can, because a lot of these buildings as well are not aging well and the owners of the buildings have not been upgrading them properly, so they're really falling apart. But we want to get apartment buildings, we want to make sure we can create as much housing as possible. Problem is here there are no incentive programs that allow you to finance more of those buildings. Whereas in Canada, they incentivize you as a building owner, someone who's buying multifamily, where you can take more of that equity out of those investments and get it into more new builds, more developments. So your money, basically instead of all your money here sitting in one project, someone who has that initiative could go out and build 3 projects.
No investor wants to have a whole bunch of their capital tied up in a property that they can't utilize. So in Canada, if anybody wants to look it up, it's CMHC. It's a government-backed program. They have a program called MLI Select, and it's a point system. And if you have a certain level of affordability and sustainability, then that opens you up to being able to have a 95% of your costs financed. You get about 1% below market rate. You get 50-year amortization. All these things bring your cost down, and it makes it feasible for developers to actually develop multifamily.
And I think that combined with finding a better system for development and planning, there's so much delays. We've renovated and built houses in almost every state, and I mean, it's crazy. The stuff that is really monotonous right now and slows the whole process down, and it can all be automated. So I think that's another place where AI is probably going to help out a lot. Some of the things like putting in solar is so simple. There's no reason for it to take. The one house that my fiance and I just finished, it took 2.5 years before the utility would just flick a switch and allow us to start using it.
Ridiculous.
Uncalled for.
No point.
It's uncalled for, and I think some people might be afraid of, if it's AI driven, it's taking away a job, but in reality, there's so much magnitude of what has to be done. I think there's going to be more jobs created, but we also have more technology, and it's just going to help solve the problem.
And we need to catch up. That's why there's a housing crisis, is because we're doing all of these things that just don't allow us to catch up.
What side of the fence do you stand on that private equity is in these markets, buying these homes and driving up prices? Is that a real thing?
I'm sure, yeah. Like there's, you could have arguments all ways. I think that the thing is, a lot of people are also trying to blame, foreign owners driving up prices. Like where we're from, Vancouver, up in Canada, it's a lot of Asian money in Vancouver, and they're saying these, people own all these properties, they sit on them, they don't use them. So they were looking at it, unless they already did, I'm actually not sure, but they were implementing a tax on any unused. If you just own a property, you're not using it, you get taxed extra on it sitting empty. They're trying to do things to change the issue or the problem. For us, we just focus on what we know. There are solutions with offsetting the crisis. People who have a house, look at building a second unit or third unit on your property. If there are government lots that are sitting empty, because there are thousands of government-owned properties that sit empty just in LA County alone, what can we do with that lot? There are a lot of the churches are now talking about the numbers are dwindling for churches. They have all these properties. What can they do to create a revenue stream and help offset the crisis? So I like that a lot of people are looking at using their property to help.
Biggest challenge you see now, and we looked at 2 properties. One was right in the heart of Hollywood. It was owned by the Catholic Church, and we were going to be able to get about 100 apartments in this complex. The numbers are so difficult to make it work as a developer. The only way you can make it happen these days is if you can either get the land for free or a really, really good deal on it and get some sort of preferred financing that'll allow you to stretch out those costs. But the development costs are so high, which is, I think, another major problem. And we were talking about it actually just earlier today, is we need to find a way to get the cost of construction down. And so some of the new technologies that we're looking at with our fund and investing in, it's stuff that will reduce the amount of labor hours on site, which the labor hours tend to be the most expensive line item in any of these developments. So anything we can do that creates local jobs, so we're not having to ship stuff as far, and anything that's going to be easier on install is helpful.
And I would say if you look at VC-backed development for rental, for multifamily, I would say it's a good thing, because the reason some of the prices are high is because we don't have enough housing. But if we had more housing on the market, that could bring some of the costs down a little bit. It's going to make it easier for people to afford. Now I'm talking about rental. It's the same thing that happens when you're talking about purchase, but I feel we're in an age where not everybody wants to own anymore. And in the future, there are a lot of countries where ownership is never the ideal situation. They just always rent.
In the last few minutes of the program, we love to ask our guests for hot takes. So I was thinking about what makes sense for this. What's your hot take on if lower interest rates will have a big effect on the housing market in 2025? Is this like, all right, rates are coming down, we're going to see a big spring buying season?
Well,
if you can find a home.
You always see more activity when the rates come down, because all of a sudden people are saying, okay, well, there are more products available for me. So right now the biggest problem is the inventory is really, really bad. And so when you don't have a healthy inventory of homes, that's probably the biggest driver, because competition is what drives prices up and down. So yes, I think you'll see activity, and I think it's healthier for the rates to come down, though you just saw the 30-year rate go up, which is strange. I don't know why that would have happened. So, but anyway, so yeah, I think it's a good thing. I want to see that people can afford. I think you're also going to see in the coming years, you're going to see new products that come out to try and incentivize younger homeowners, because my fear is that in 20 years, our kids won't be able to afford to buy a house. Nobody will be able to get into the market because it's going to be so crazy expensive. We need to start tackling that problem now, but lean on the fact that lenders want you to get their products. They want to lend you the money. They're going to come out with products that make it a little more accessible. The problem is they'll just extend the amortization period so that it's taking you longer to pay off that investment.
Yeah, I think the one thing we are just seeing is, obviously any cuts, the Fed's cut again, a quarter last Thursday, and any of that helps a little bit, but I think they're being cautious, rightfully so, not to go too heavy too fast. And I think people just need to think creatively. If you want to own a home, what's the smartest way to get in it? Whether it's partnering with a friend or a family member, or other creative ways like building an ADU or another auxiliary unit.
Maybe we'll launch the Bank of Bro.
Well, maybe I can partner with you guys. Maybe that's how I'll get into my first home.
Is that it? All right. So
we'll bring the toilet.
You bring the toilet down. You got me, guys.
Yeah.
Lastly, where do I start if I wanted to renovate my home today? Is it still the kitchen? Is that the biggest return?
No, you sit down and you write down your list of must-haves, all of the things you'd really love to have, and then go through and weed out the stuff that's nice to have versus what you really need to have. And you'll kind of get to a core thing that will make life easier. Your home should make your life easier. Sometimes that's the kitchen, sometimes that's the bedroom, sometimes it's a guest suite or an office. Whatever it is that makes your life easier, that's where you should start. Just don't perpetually be under construction for a year or 2 years, because it's not fun.
That's not good for any relationship. And I would say, just in the market that we're in here, if you have wasted space, whether it's a garage or some area that could be converted into a rental suite, that you can go for it. Even if you don't rent it out right now, at least you could spend the money there. It's adding value to your home because you have a secondary opportunity for income. It's a good investment.
I wish you much success on the new show, Don't Hate Your House, with the Property Brothers. Good to see you, Drew and Jonathan Scott. I wish you come on back down here soon. Bring the toilets.
Yes.
Bring a little housing statue for our set. I appreciate it.
I'm going to bring you a little toilet statue.
All right, that'll be good, guys. All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, and that's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid. Hit us with those 5 stars on Spotify, thumbs up on YouTube, and just keep on showing us that love. We feel it, and it keeps us going all the time. That's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid.